Martin Daubney, you wanted to make a point?
Yeah, I just think, we have to sort of, take stock of who's in the top seats of power. 7 out of 8 of the highest seats in the land are now hardcore Remainers or rejoiners. We have to open our eyes to this. And if Labour get in, it's going to be worse. Now, we're talking about migration and immigration in a coastal seat like Dover. It's a huge, huge issue. I was in the Midlands at the weekend, where I'm from Nottinghamshire, and it's the number one talk about issue apart from the cost of living. This government has utterly, utterly failed on that. If they think it's going to get any better under Grant Shapps, then they need to go to that bar and drink a bottle of scotch. Because really, it's going to be disastrous. And if they lose and Labour get in, well, welcome to Open Borders City. It's going to be terrible for the country. And I would urge all Brexiteers to start tooling up again. Because our opponents are well-funded, well-organised. No, they're well-funded, well-organised.
That is really
tool up for action. I don't mean a weapon. Of course.
No, but you see, it's this tone of language, Martin.
The future...
Hang on. But
let's not nitpick about that. The future of the country is at stake once again. And I think we need to open our eyes and be awake to this. Because they want to try and reverse Brexit and go for a second referendum. I'm telling you.
Good. And funnily enough, I think
What do you mean good?
Good. I'd love to have a second referendum.
Of course you would, because democracy is only good when it works for you, as you just said.
But if David Cameron had any gumption, he was forced into it because he was frightened by Brexit. He didn't have to go ahead with what he could have done, which would have been the grown-up and sensible thing to do, would to say, it is so close, it shows me that we need to do an awful lot of work.
Hang on. We heard this. This is like Groundhog Day. It's like Groundhog Day.
It's Groundhog Day when people talk about Brexit and immigration and keep rerunning the same arguments.
The voters here really care about these things. They're just sad. So we should listen to the voters in places like Dover, where it's key.
When you talk about... yes, and so are jobs. So is the cost of living. So is housing. So is transport. You know that. You got stuck on the train getting down here.
The wheels came off just like the government.
But when you talk about tooling up and that incendiary language and the way...
hang on.
This is ridiculous.
But this is the tone of voice that stops
I think, to be honest, I think there was a
sensible debate.
Right, but you didn't actually mean people get weapons.
Of course I bloody did.
And I think everyone in this room... I think, so I think that we all kind of acknowledge that no one's...
Yeah, and that's...
Oh, it's just banter, don't worry.
That's been another casualty of this entire battle. You're not allowed to speak your mind and be forthright. We're in a coastal town where people say it as they see it. And this obsession with the microcosm of words and triggering, it's ridiculous. The future of the country is at stake and we're allowed to get passionate about that, aren't we?
The future of the... The future of the country was at stake when we had Boris Johnson as a leader and then Liz Truss was elected and tanked the economy, which in the space of 44 days...
But when you say they tanked the economy, what do you mean?
Well, you know exactly what I mean.
No, I'm asking you, what do you mean?
Well, the budget, or the mini-budget, or the fiscal event, or whatever it was supposed to be by the previous Chancellor, which caused the stock markets to absolutely plunge.
Momentarily. Stock markets go up, stock markets come down.
Not to the state
currency
that they did,
up, currency
Michelle.
goes down.
And the mortgage rates went up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gone up.
I know, but come on, no one really believes, because I've noticed this, that there is this whole kind of mantra now from, for example, Labour, but not just Labour, that mortgage rates are going up and it's all because of Liz Truss. That's absolute nonsense.
But the interest rates went up. The Bank of England put interest rates up. The Bank of England had to intervene to save pensions.
The Bank of England raised interest rates way too slowly.
I agree with that.
Their job, you've got one job. Your job is to manage inflation. Your target for inflation is 2%. It was way over 2% before the Bank of England actually got off their backsides and intervened. And I just want to be absolutely clear with everyone, because most people, if you've got a mortgage that's coming to, renew, or if you're trying to buy a property, it's anxious times. People are anxious about mortgage rates.
But it's gone up from 2% to 6%.
But you need to, the base rate hasn't.
For mortgages?
Yes, but then I would argue how much of that is actually banks trying to profiteer, because they're not so quick to raise their rates on the opposite direction when it comes to savings.
The same as petrol companies.
There is no disputing that the impact of that budget, that fiscal event, had a disastrous effect on the stock exchange, on banks and on all of our pensions and our mortgages and our rents.
A lot of which has now been corrected.
Yes, it has been corrected, but in that intervening time, many people had mortgage offers withdrawn. It's caused unnecessary anxiety, and it was done without talking to or getting the advice from or publishing the Office of Budget Responsibility. She ignored everybody. She then blamed it on Kwasi Kwarteng, the previous chancellor.
But then the entire Remain movement ignored 17.4 million people, you know, for all those years. And suddenly we have to listen to the electorate. It doesn't work.
Is this just going to be about Brexit? 'Cause
No,
It's a key
not.
point.